trying to do it on that.
4-2. 4-2. He wins it for us. John.
Here's Aloisi for a place in the World Cup.
For us.
He's scored! Australia have done it! John Aloisi, the Confederations Cup hero, has done it!
The hitch. And Goodwin deflection goal. Now then. To support Goodwin. Reflection on that. Duke's header! Magnificent goal!
Hello and welcome to One Game at a Time's Socceroos match preview. I am Seb O'Neill, and as always, I am joined by my three lovely co-hosts who I'm going to propose a question to you all. What is your favourite football movie? Starting with Mark Talbot. Mark.
Good evening, Seb. Favourite football movie? Escape to Victory.
Very good choice. Some good footballers in there as well as Pele.
Not
Alessio,
so
what about you?
Yeah, I think mine's going to be either goal 1 or 2. The third one ruined it a bit, but the first two are the best. I like them.
And
that
finally,
manager as well.
And finally, David Grant, what is your favourite footballing movie?
I'd have to say that Mark has stolen my thunder. I would have gone for Escape to Victory as well. A classic, if I don't say so myself. If I can have another one instead, then there's a little Scottish movie called Gregory's Girl, which isn't really a football movie, but it's set around a football team made in the early 1980s, and that would come a close second.
Very, very well. Escape to Victory with the great goalkeeper Sylvester Stallone, one of the greatest. Of course, we're here to talk about the Socceroos' upcoming games against Saudi Arabia and Bahrain. To start with, we'll go back to a month ago now. That game against Japan, we drew 1-1 in Saitama. A very interesting game. We'll start with you, Alessio. How did you think of it, and how do you think we went with it?
Yeah, I mean, I watched some of it as well as you did, Seb, and I thought there was, again, a bit of a defensive setup. Not much of the ball, not many chances, but I think he went out there and the game plan worked. Unfortunate, we conceded an own goal as well, but looked like we're going to hold on there for a long time. And I guess his defensive setup worked. Getting a point away in Japan is not a mean feat. So he's had a good start to his reign as a coach, Popovic. So, yeah, nothing else to say from me.
Mark, I'll go to you for the next question. We all thought after the game in Adelaide, in here, with Joe Gauci starting, we thought maybe Matt Ryan would go back in goals. He didn't. Joe Gauci remained. I guess going back to that and now this upcoming window, do we think it's a bit of a changing of the guard already?
It's hard to say, but I think there's a slight chance that is the change of the guard. He does want to. Some positions he has brought in some obviously younger players, especially with this squad as well. So starting to bleed those players in and give them opportunities. I'm a massive Gauci fan, but I also find it hard that he left him in. I was very surprised. I thought I picked that he would, but I didn't actually believe myself when I sort of put our squads together because I thought it was such a big game. I thought he'd go for the experience in Matt Ryan, but neither of them have actually been playing. And Izzo, to be honest, is the only one that's actually been playing out the three of them. So it did surprise me a little bit. He didn't go back to Matt Ryan just for the experience, but he didn't. In the end, it worked out all right, and Gauci hasn't put a foot wrong. And that's the other thing. How do you drop a goalkeeper that hasn't done anything wrong?
David, finally on to you about Australia versus Japan. What did you think of the game, David?
Well, you're saying that with a little bit of mockery there because I can't afford all of these fancy subscribed channels. Look, my beef with it is that I think these games should be on free to air. So I don't subscribe to the organisation that broadcasts these games. So I didn't see the game at the time. And of course, I don't think there's a highlight show either. You can go onto YouTube and you can see the goals and 3-minute highlight package. But if we are trying to promote the game, then I think at least a highlights reel of a 15-minute highlights reel should be on free to air or on the YouTube, as they say. So I can't tell you what I made of the game because I didn't see it at the time. And although I saw the goals later, I had vision of how the game panned out, because I have to draw the line somewhere, and I already subscribe to others, so I don't have that one.
You didn't miss much, so that's all right.
I was going to say, but good game, David, overall, from what you saw.
Well, the result was good, wasn't it?
Did you like our goals?
Yeah, it was. Was that an OG towards the end?
Both of them.
There's an ours, yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll move forward. We'll move into this upcoming international window, of course, starting tomorrow night against Saudi Arabia. We'll go through the squads, starting with the Australian national team. Just looking at the squad as a whole, ranked 24th in the world rankings. Of course, new coach Tony Popovich has come in after being led by Graham Arnold. We got some new changes. We'll start with our goalkeepers, Matt Ryan and South Aussie Joe Gauchi. Back, neither has seen league action for their clubs, Roma and Aston Villa, respectively, while Paul Izzo has been a consistent starter for Randers FC in Denmark Super League and playing alongside fellow South Aussie Mohamed Toure. He's in strong form but didn't make the cut, which I think we'll talk about in a little bit as well. On to the defence, 2 players from Sydney FC joining the squad. Ryan Grant earns his first call-up since 2021, and young talent Hayden Matthews gets his maiden selection despite his red card for Sydney FC against Macarthur in their 2-1 loss. Also returning after a long while is our right back that played in Qatar, Milos Degenek. He's re-established himself at Red Star Belgrade, as is Bajic, Jordan Boss, Cameron Burgess, Lewis Miller, Kai Rolls, Harry Suter, and surprise star of the last window, Jason Guerrier, all remain in Popovich's plans. However, no room this time around for Thomas Dang or Gianni Stensness. Going into midfield, Max Ballard from NAC Breda in the Dutch Eredivisie earns his debut call-up. The former Central Coast Mariner is in brilliant form and has been given the nickname the Aussie Kante by the Breda fans for his performances. Sydney FC's Anthony Caceres also gets his first call-up after being quite consistently strong in his performances for Sydney FC after even past few years even. Aiden Hrustic, Riley McGree, Aidan O'Neill, Patrick Yazbek, St. Pauli captain Jackson Irvine, fresh after playing Bayern Munich, will continue to anchor the midfield. Absent in this window, Keanu Bacchus of Mansfield Town and Luke Bratton of Macarthur, who did struggle against Japan in Saitama and got dragged off at half-time as well. Onto the forward line where we have the most changes. Only Nishan Valupale, Mitchell Duke and Craig Goodwin, who is actually suspended for tomorrow night's game against Saudi Arabia, retain their spots. Dropping out are Daniel Arzani, Sam Silvera, Apostolos Stamatolopoulos, and perhaps surprisingly Nestori Irankunda. Rejoining the attack are Martin Boyle from Hibernian, who has 2 goals and assists in 10 Scottish Premiership matches. Brandon Brello, who's had a solid start for a poor Western Sydney Wanderers side with 2 goals and 2 assists in his 4 A-League men's games. And Portsmouth striker and of course South Australian Cassini Yengi, returning from suspension and injury despite being unable to continue the form he was while in League One up to the Championship for Portsmouth. Gentlemen, what do we think of that squad? All right. If nobody wants to talk, then that's fine. Mark, we'll start with you. Okay. No, we'll start with David. No.
I was just going to say there's 7 A-League players in that squad. That's a good sign, isn't it? I mean, most of them from Sydney, but 7 A-League players in that squad. You get BH at Melbourne City, Ryan Grant, Hayden Matthews at this is the defenders at Sydney. Then you get Anthony Caresis, who is at Sydney as well, and then Barello and Belply up front. So 7 A-Leaguers, which I think it says a lot about the local competition, doesn't it? That's the first thing that kind of sprung to my mind. A little bit surprised, I suppose, to see. I was surprised that Luke Bratton was in the last squad and Ryan Grant's coming to this one. These are older players. I think they're 31, 32, maybe even 34 in one case. So, these are players that are getting on, and as much as you want a little bit of experience, and they're a bit surprised to see players of that vintage being brought into the squad. So they're the immediate 2 thoughts I had. Yep.
Mark, we'll go on to you now.
Yeah, look, I think Nothing out of the ordinary. Like most of the players, obviously retained from the last lot. There were a few changes, mainly in the front half of the field. I was surprised Ryan Grant has been called back in after such a long absence. It's been a few years for him. And I think the other one, which, to be honest, it surprised me, but deservedly, is Caceres. He's been the key man for Sydney this season so far, and also last year. I know he plays alongside the likes of Joel Lolly and whatnot in that Sydney side, but he's been fantastic for Sydney of late. So I was surprised he got a call up. He's 32 now, but he certainly deserves a call up because his play in tight areas this season so far and last year in particular was fantastic. So, and especially with the way that Popovic has been playing with the inverted wingers, it might suit him and his game style a lot more than what the out-and-out wide wingers would play. So that's, like I said, it surprised me, but fully deserved, I thought, on this season and last season's performances. So, again, Ryan Grant, I was very surprised with that one. But some of the others, obviously, not a surprise at all. Burgess has been playing for Ipswich. He's been doing really well. And Degenek, obviously, we know what he can do. And now that he's back from injury, obviously, that's a big in just for his experience and things like that at the top level. So I think that's a good in. It surprised me a little bit, I think, with Goodwin being suspended for one game. I wasn't sure if he'd bring him into the squad, but he has, which is great for Craig and for SA in general. So I wasn't sure how that would play out with him obviously only available for one game. So goalkeeper-wise, it's as to be expected. And if, like I said, to be honest, if you're going to go a goalkeeper that's based on actually playing, Paul Izzo should be number one. He's played, I think it's 12 games so far, and he's started off really well. So it'll be interesting to see.
Alessio.
Yeah, I mean, a good thing to see is that he's really picking players based on their form or the minutes they're getting. Another out with Daniel Arzani that we saw there as well. And he seems not to be in the plans at the moment for Melbourne Victory with the form of Reno Piscopo and Valupale. So that's another interesting winger to see that's not in there. Silvera I was looking at as well. Only played a few minutes off the bench. We're talking about the fullbacks coming in, Ryan Grant, and how good Jason Gary has been as well, and Degenek as well. I was looking at maybe if Ryan Strain had a shout to come in, but he hasn't played too many minutes over there at Dundee United either. So I think most of the squad is pretty much as expected. I think other than Mohamed Toure, maybe, who's had some form over there as a striker. If you look at the list that we have there, there's not many out-and-out number 9s besides Duke and Yengi. But otherwise, I think it's a very expected squad. And I'm sure the more form that some of these players have in the A-League, especially coming up soon, then maybe you'll see a few more changes there. But I think it's really well-deserved for Caceres as well. He's had quite a few years in the A-League that he's been a very good standout player. Finally getting his rewards at 32. So it's good to see.
I guess is that a feel-good thing? Can I just ask, is that a feel-good thing for Caceres? Are we thinking it's great that he's in there because he's playing well, he's getting on, this is his last chance, so it's a nice thing to do? Or do we actually think he can be effective and make a difference?
Well, I think if that is the spot that it seems like there are a few people that are coming in and out of, like you've got Irvine's going to start almost every game. McGree might play a bit off the side or not, but in the way that Popovic plays, maybe a central in the mid like Caceres could probably take a claim more likely than some of the other guys in the squad. But I think his performances definitely deserve it, and maybe that spot. I don't know if age is the biggest worry, but I think especially if there's only two of them in the midfield, I think him and Irvine would be usually in Popovic's teams and lineups. I think that it would be a good thing. Some of the younger players probably want to push on further, be that 10, be the difference maker like your Hrustic or your McGree. So maybe Caceres is more disciplined in staying back, one of those type of players. But I think with Popovic in charge, he's just looking with a keener eye on the A-League, and that's one of the players he's picked out.
Maybe there's hope for me then, eh?
I think my last point, unless I think of anything else or any of you guys have anything to bring up, missing players. We spoke about Mohamed Toure, no Nestori Irankunda. No Alex Robertson, which is a whole deal at the moment, not knowing whether he wants to continue to play for the national team. Nectar Triantis from Hibernian as well has been quite promising. Any of those players you agree, disagree with? Any other players that come to mind that you think should have been brought into the fold for this squad?
Well, I mean, the elephant in the room is necessarily Aaron Kunda, but I admire Popovic for, making the statement that he only wants, he kind of diplomatically and politely put down that he wants Nestor and Kunda to settle it at Bayern Munich. And I think that's just a nice way of saying you're not playing first team football. You haven't quite fit into the plans that Mark mentioned earlier about the inverted winger and how Aaron Kunda appears to have sort of struggled with that role. He's not really a player who cuts inside like that on his opposite foot. And maybe doesn't quite fit the plan, but I thought Popovic maybe has handled it well, and I think it's probably a good decision. The Alex Robertson one's interesting. He's born in Dundee, but his father, Mark, played for Australia, played one game, I think, for Australia in the 80s, and his grandfather, Alexander, who's his namesake, played 8 games or 9 games for Australia in the 80s. So he would be a third-generation Socceroo. He's played twice for the national team, but both were friendlies, and therefore hasn't meant he's committed to the national side. But he's got a Peruvian mother, I think. He was born in Dundee, and I think the other thing's residence, although he's playing for Cardiff now. So they're saying he can play for England because he's a resident there, but if he's a Cardiff player, then he's arguably a Welsh resident. So I'm not sure.
He was at City before that.
Manchester
So he was.
City,
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure he's a resident. So
Brecon City? Harry Suter was at Brecon City.
Yes, true. Yeah, true. So he's eligible for 4 different countries at the moment, and unfortunately, he's tearing it up for Cardiff at the moment. Anyone else that you guys think has missed out?
I had 2 names. Another one I saw who I just recently saw. He didn't get any minutes in the Socceroos last time. Stamatolopoulos. He's getting the minutes now over there at Hearts, but I guess he's not scoring, and maybe that's a tough call for Popovic to say, you're playing, sure, you're getting a lot of minutes in this SPFL, but you're actually not hitting the back of the net as you were before the last camp. The other one I was looking at was Kai Rolls as well, who was a stalwart of the team in the World Cup, and he's probably a bit younger than a Guerrier or a Cam Burgess as well. He's still 26, and he's been playing well for Hearts himself, playing 90 minutes, getting a lot of good games, especially, I think in his last game was a 1-0 loss to Rangers, but he was one of the best performing players for Hearts. But other than that, maybe he's one of the defenders I would have put in over a Ryan Grant. But other than those two, I mean, I think we're just looking for a number 9 with form, which we've been looking at since Mark Viduka days. But I think more strikers the merrier to try and find this solution.
Absolutely. We'll go on to Saudi Arabia. A very interesting package. Most of their players are based domestically in Saudi Arabia, apart from a few, which we'll go through now. Ranked 59th in the FIFA World Rankings, and now have Hervé Renard back as coach after a disappointing reign under Roberto Mancini. They'll be missing 2 players in Abdullah Al-Malki and their star Salem Al-Dossari as well from Al-Hilal. Going through the squad, starting with the goalkeepers, he's called up Hamed Al-Qassar, Hamad Al-Shankiti, Abdul Rahman Al-Sanbi and Mohamed Al-Rubai, with Al-Qassar being the one expecting to start. Defensively, key players like Ali Al-Bulaili and Yasser Al-Sharani of Al-Hilal have experience to put in that back line. Rest of it is rounded out by Hassan Al-Tambakti and Saud Abdul Hamid, who is one, as we spoke about, one of the only 3 non-domestic players in the current squad, currently playing his trade at Roma in Italy, alongside Socceroos player Matt Ryan. Mohamed Al-Shankiti, Ali Lajami and Abdullah Al-Amri complete that back line. In midfield, the team have veterans like 35-year-old Saman Al-Faraj, who now plays in the Saudi second division with Neom, and 30-year-old Mohamed Kano to lead in the absence of Al-Malki. Sultan Al-Ghanem, typically known as a right back, could be pretty versatile in the midfield for Saudi Arabia across their 2 games. Abdullah Al-Kaibari and Sad Al-Nasser, 2 young but promising players, bring additional depth to the squad. Musab Al-Juwaya, a creative midfielder with Al-Hilal, rounds out the midfield lineup and could add flair to that Saudi Arabian attack. Finally, that forward line, as we spoke about, Salam Al-Dosri missing out due to injury, which is a big plus for the Socceroos. Salah Al-Sheri, fresh from a promising start with Al Hilal this season, will likely be the one to lead the attack, and he's also joined by clubmate Fraz Al-Baraikan. Abdullah Al-Hamdan and Nasser Al-Dosri also bring versatility, capable of playing in pretty much anywhere across the front line. Promising young talents like Abdullah Radif and Mohamed Al-Khatani have earned call-ups and mega opportunities to have international experience. Ayman Falata joins them. And then those other two non-domestic players, 20-year-old Marwan Al-Sahafi and 23-year-old Faisal Al-Gamdi, are the only other two non-domestic players in the squad, both playing together at Beerschot in the Belgian Pro League. So as we said, only those four non-domestic players. Saudi Arabia have, as we can see there, almost all, apart from those three, playing in Saudi Arabia. A lot of them, you see a lot of familiar clubs, Al Hilal, a lot of the squads coming from there. It'll probably very much come to their benefits having almost a national team comprised of one of the biggest clubs in Asia and one of the best as well.
Yeah, look, with the Saudi team, I think for me, there's two keys. Obviously, one in favour of Australia with their star player missing through injury. But for me, it's one of the biggest things is having Hervé Renard back. It's a bit of a back to the future moment with him. He was there previously, led them in the 2022 World Cup. So then he had a short stint, obviously, with the French women's national team, turned them around. They were fantastic. So he just does so well at the international level. He gets the most out of players, bringing them together. And I think I would have loved to have seen Australia go for him, to be honest, as the national coach. But he's just been there. I think he's about 56 now. He's been around and he just gets the best out of players at that level. And I just think that's a massive, massive in for the Saudis. And I think strategically, tactically wise, he's very, very good, which obviously I think could be a bit of a thought in our side going into the game.
Yeah, I'll just echo what you're saying there, Mark. I mean, they're a little bit of an unknown quantity, this team, for me. And there's a couple of names in there I've seen before, but I don't know much about them. But I think Hervé Renard, as you say, Mark, is probably their most, well, certainly they're probably the best known member of their party, and has done magic things with African sides and Asian sides in the past. So I'm more worried about him than I am about the others. But I certainly don't dismiss Saudi Arabia. They're a decent enough side with a good World Cup history as well.
Of course, delivered one of the most, if not or one of the most entertaining games of the World Cup in Qatar, that 2-1 win over Argentina, in which Salam Al-Dosri scored the winner, of course, missing in this window. Alessio?
Yeah, I was just going to say the other scorer from that game, the one starts with S, I forgot his name, but he scored the first goal in that game, so he's still there as a threat as well. And I just think if you go by, that's probably one of the last games any of us saw of them, or if they saw the other games in the group. But as you could see, they hold on to big results as well, the same as us, as we did against Japan. So I think it's going to be a very defensive performance from both teams, and see what a quick attackers they have. But as you did say, most of their team comes from Al Hilal, Al Ittihad I saw there as well. So there's a lot of successful players and successful teams. Not sure how much they play in those teams, but they're part of successful clubs with players with fantastic quality. So you can only expect them to learn from some of those players and see this team on the rise.
We're just talking about, as you said, Alessio, the form that they're in at the moment. Not a great start to their World Cup qualifying campaign. Started with a 1-1 draw at home to Indonesia, a 2-1 win away in China, and then two home games back-to-back, a 2-0 loss to Japan and a 0-0 draw against Bahrain. Of course, all these games were under the leadership of Roberto Mancini. Saudi Arabia at home is a very, very hard place to go. And I think, again, leading to the hiring of Hervé Renard is probably a factor of that. Saudi Arabia don't lose at home. Their fans are fanatical in the best way possible. You see it in the Asian Champions League. You see it with the national team. So as we said, Hervé Renard's probably one of the best acquisitions for the team at the moment. Marcus, any other points to add to Saudi Arabia before we move on to Bahrain?
Yeah, just the only other thing really is when you were talking about their form and that. I mean, you look at it; they're only a point. They're on equal points with Australia. They're not. They haven't had the best start, but neither have we. So it's going to be very tight.
Absolutely. I mean, same as Bahrain, which we'll go on to now. I'll go through their squad. Where is the squad? Here's the squad. Going on to them, 76th in the world ranking, coached by Croatian Dragan Talicic. It's a very balanced squad, a few veterans and younger players as well. Starting in goal, they've called up 3 goalkeepers. Ibrahim Lutfallah, Amar Mohammed, and the highly experienced Saeed Mohammed Jaffer. Lutfallah has been starting for Bahrain, so he will be expected, while the other 2 will play as backup. The defenders, Amin Benadi, Hamad Al-Shamzan, Walid Hayam is a mainstay at the back. Saeed Bakr is expected to also be starting in that back line. Ahmed Nabil, Hazar Ali, Abdullah Al-Kulasi probably contribute depth for this Bahraini backline. Vincent Emmanuel, very versatile. He will round out that defensive lineup and pretty much play anywhere along that back line as well, giving the coach options. Midfield, Moses Atede has that spark. Ali Haram, Abbas Fadel Al-Asfour have a bit of structure. Very good on the ball. Jassim Al-Sheikh will likely play a central role. Kamal Al-Aswad is probably going to be their key playmaker within that midfield. And Abdul Wahab Al-Mahoud, again, adding a bit of that depth, might not play as much. The forward line, led by their 38-year-old striker, their veteran forward, Ismail Abdul Latif, who has a history of coming up clutch in big games. He's joined by Mohamed Mahoun and Mahdi Al-Humaydan, both capable of playing anywhere across that forward line. Ali Madan brings creativity to the forward line, while Saeed Hashim, Issa and Hussein Abdul Karim add depth and have plenty of potential. And to finish it off, Ibrahim Al-Katal and Mahdi Abdul Jabbar complete that Bahraini team. Bahrain, again, another unknown quantity, but we had a game against them not long ago, and it didn't go too well. So what are we expecting from this Bahrain team? It will be a tough game, I expect.
I think. Sorry, go on, David.
Our timing's poor tonight, fellas. Isn't it? On you go, Mark.
I was just going to say, I think it'll be very much a carbon copy of the first game. I think very defensive. They'll hold on for everything and try and capture on the counter effectively. I mean, Harry Suter own goal in the last game, and that was the winner. So I would expect it to be very defensive. Not a lot of space anywhere on the park, especially in that defensive third. So I think it will just be much of the same, and it will just rely on our creativity to break that down. This time, I think, we're playing it here in Australia, so I think that will have a bit of a difference as well on the game.
This one's away. Is
away, is it?
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be even tougher. Then I don't think the pitch will be very difficult to play on in that case. And I just think it's going to be a lot of the same, just defensive, and it'll be a lot like our game against Japan, where they had all the possession, we sat back. I think it's going to be very much the same, but just the other way around.
David.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it'll be about grinding a result out rather than anything else. Nice looking little stadium, holds 24,000 there in Manama, the capital of Bahrain. I don't know if it'll be all that pretty to watch, but if you don't subscribe to that channel that's got it, you're not going to see it anyway, are you? So you'll just need to send me text messages and tell me how it's going. Bahrain
I'll give you a call at 5 a.m. then. when it's on.
You're always up at that time watching football, aren't you?
Am I?
You seem to be. Look, I wouldn't write Bahrain off. They're no mugs. You remember New Zealand got to the 2010 World Cup. Who did they beat in the two-legged playoff to get there? Bahrain. And it might be a bit before your time, but Trinidad and Tobago made it to the 2006 World Cup. And who did they beat in the two-legged intercontinental playoff to get there? Bahrain. So they've been there a couple of times or thereabouts. They've just not managed to make it all the way. And but I wouldn't underestimate them by any means, especially over there in their own patch of ground.
Alessio, finally on to you.
Yeah, as you were saying, they got some elite strikers as well at the moment. One of their big stars is Mohamed Maroon. who scored a couple in one of their previous games, a 99th minute equaliser as well. But he's a young forward that seems to be in form as well. He only moved to his new team last year, but he scored 24 goals in 12 games, which is wild. And he's doing really well in the Asian Champions League as well too. So maybe Central Coast Mariners will come up against his team sometime soon. But they score goals and they don't give up late in games. So it's going to be a tough one, I think.
Will be a very, very interesting game against Bahrain. That one next week. We'll go through all the fixtures later on. Our ideal starting lineups, gentlemen. We have them all prepared all nicely. We'll go through them all. I don't remember what order I put them in, so if you see your name, you're going to be called up. I think mine's first, though. We'll get through the form. That's fine. Mine is first. I can't remember what I picked last time, to be honest. I think I picked the...
Sorry, Seb. So is this your hopeful lineup? This is
a mix of both. This is what it's a mix of like. So I've picked the formation a 3-4-3 because that's what I think he'll play, which makes the most sense. But I've picked the players that I want to play in that formation. So backline: Joe Gauci, Harry Sutar, Jason Guerrier, Cameron Burgess. In midfield: Jordan Boss, Riley McGree, Jackson Irvine, Lewis Miller. And then the forward line, Craig Goodwin, Mitchell Duke or Martin Boyle. And then, of course, with Craig Goodwin suspended, I'd probably switch him out and maybe have Brandon Brello in, depending on that tomorrow night. Nothing too crazy, I think. Pretty stock standard, nothing exciting. I think yours are much more better than mine. So we'll go on to the next one. I don't remember who it is. David, you're next. Yours is fun.
Yeah, well, yours is quite different to mine. Now, mine was written on the bus on the way home or the way in to work to my paid job. So... you might need to refresh my memory by bringing the first name up, Seb, because I can't remember.
Do you remember the formation?
4-4-2 . And I think I even had Craig Goodwin in there, forgetting that he was actually suspended for this first tie. So that's going to be a struggle. We'll have to sneak him on the pitch where the referee's not looking or change his wear a mask or something so he's not recognised. Did I have Matt Ryan in goal? I did. I had Matt Ryan in goal. The back four of Lewis Miller. I was very impressed with him when I saw him playing at Adelaide Oval last month against China. And I see a bit of him because I follow the Scottish game, and obviously he's at Hibs. So I'm a big fan of his. So I've got him on the right side. Guerrier, when he came on in that second half at Adelaide Oval, was very impressive as well. Got him on the left-hand side, and Rolls and Suter becoming a little bit of a partnership there at the back. I would expect those two to maybe be there. And then we move into my midfield. Goodwin suspended, so we have to fit him with a mask, a pair of glasses, and maybe like a fake moustache, so when he runs on, they don't know who he is. So that would be Goodwin on the left-hand side. McGree and Irvine in the middle. Been seeing a little bit of McGree as well. I've got some family in Middlesbrough, so I sort of follow them a little bit, and he's just a hero on T side. Irvine obviously will be there. He's the captain, an obvious choice. And Borrello, I figured I'd chuck in a South Australian there, a former Modbury Jet, I believe, on the right-hand side. And he's just coming back in, isn't he? I think he's only played maybe 12 times or so for the national side. So I'm giving him cap 13. And then up front, Kusini Yengi and Martin Boyle. So I dropped Mitch Duke, I think. I can't remember who else I dropped. Who played up front last time we played?
Nesta.
Oh, Nkunda, yes. I've dropped Duke and I've dropped Nkunda, and I've put in Yengi, who's back from suspension, and Boyle, who's back from injury. But for me, those two are maybe our best two strikers just now anyway. Not sure that Yengi's hit form just yet at club level, but Boyle's back and looking good. So that's my front two. A good old-fashioned 4-4-2. With a sneaky left-sided midfielder coming in with glasses and a fake moustache under the name Bob Smith.
I think for me, David, for your squad, my shocks for picking are Martin Boyle and Brandon Borrello. I reckon, for starting at least.
Okay, so I get Borrello because hasn't played much. He's just coming in and so on. So that would be a bit of a surprise. I can't remember who I dropped from my squad last time, because what I did was I went and looked at my squad from last time and I made a couple of changes to that. So that's what I was basing it on. Can't remember who I had on the right side. Maybe it was Aaron Kunda. Boyle, why are you surprised at Boyle?
just because he sort of hasn't been in the fold, been injured, I don't think he's been in great form recently. To be honest, it was probably a shock to me that he was even called up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So yeah, but I can see.
Yeah.
I think I might even have him starting. To be fair, but yeah, it was just a weird one for me.
Look, I'm a bit of a fan. Maybe I've got a little bit of bias towards those Scottish-based players and those players who have been in Scotland. Like Bacchus, I'd like to have seen him. He's at Mansfield Town now, but he was at St Mirren for a while. I've got a little bit of bias towards those guys that have played in Scotland or are playing in Scotland, so maybe there's a little bit of that in there for me. I prefer Boyle to Duke. And maybe Duke's the player I dropped for Boyle. Duke just didn't quite... just wasn't quite there for me in the games that he played. I like him. That was some header he scored at the last World Cup. Class. But that was just one moment. And I just think I would have Boyle in before I had Duke. And I'd have Yengi up front before maybe Aaron Kunda as well.
I have your squad from last time in front of me, David. I can read it out to you. You've dropped Mitch Duke. You've dropped Geordie Boss. And you've dropped Aidan O'Neill.
Yeah. Well, I dropped Aidan O'Neill because I've never heard of him before. I think I put Barello in for Boss and Boyle for Duke and Yengi for Aaron Kunda.
So what I had here, you had Duke and Goodwin up front, Geordie Boss at left mid, and then Aidan O'Neill on the right side.
Yeah. So I've also done a little bit of a shuffle then as well.
Yeah.
Because I have Goodwin in midfield, whereas I had him up front last time. But yeah, that's my team. I'm standing by it.
Let's see who's next. Alessio, you're next.
Yeah, well, I think we all got conned with it. I didn't know that Goodwin is also suspended as well, so I've got him in mind. But I do also have the same formation as Seb, and our teams look like they are quite similar as well. Had Matt Ryan in goals, back three, Geria, Sutar, Burgess, doing well. I think fullbacks, Miller and Boss, Irvine and McGree in the middle. Obviously, this front three changes, but I had Velupile, Goodwin and Yengi, and I guess we have to change Goodwin, and I think the only other real winger I could see is Barello there. I have doubts that he would start straight away in this game, and that potentially you could have Yengi on the left and what would likely be Duke up front, or even Boyle on the left and just keep Yengi up front. But I really think Velupile deserves a start and a run in the team, especially his form he's had start of this A-League season. The rest of the team, I really think it picks itself. The midfield four, the back three, and I guess the keepers a debate as well. But those back eight usually pretty much pick themselves. And yeah, I think I might be the only one who has Velupile in there, but I think he deserves it.
Yeah, that was the only one I think I was going to question.
I think it's a good pick. Yeah, I think he's a good pick.
If Mark as well noticed, I had Goodwin on the left and Velupile on the right.
That's because you're playing him.
Really want to see him play.
Yeah, that's where he plays. I did two sides actually. I did what I'd love to see.
I only made one, mate. You're only getting one.
Yeah, I know. And then I did a side that I thought would be the one that Tony Popovic would pick. So I don't know which one Seb's put forward here. So we'll find out.
I don't know which one I've put in.
You've done 4-3-3. So this is the one I'd like to. This is the side I'd like to see. I know that he doesn't play a 4-3-3. My side that I think Tony would play is actually very similar to Alessio's. But this would be my ideal lineup. Would be a 4-3-3. Burgess and Suter at the back, Miller and Boss and the two fullbacks with the Gouch in goal. Then in the midfield it would be Aidan O'Neill, Irvine and Hrustic. Again, just trying to provide something creative in that middle. O'Neill just sitting in. He's been doing really well for his side at club level. And then up top, I think I went with. I actually realised that Goodwin wasn't playing. And so that's what I messaged Seb about. I messaged Seb today. I said, change this. So I brought in Boyle to play on the wing because I know that for me, the way I looked at it as the front three was without Goodwin, he plays his front three very narrow. Like he plays the two inverted wingers, whereas Boyle and McGree can both come inside and play really inverted and almost play as 2 10s. And Yengi just a focal point up top. So that's why I went with not traditional wingers, because I just thought he plays them so narrow, they both fit in centrally really easily. So, but I think he'll still play a 3-4-3, a 3-4-3 though. That's just his formation. So this is why I'd like to see it, but I know that it won't be this way. And if he does play a 3-4-3, then it'll be Burgess, Suter, and Gary at the back, like I said, the same as yours, Alessio. So
no place in your team, Mark, for Kai Rolls then at the back.
No, well, he hasn't.
No?
He hasn't featured for Popovic at all. Like, he's been on the bench, but he hasn't actually. I think he's played one game. He played, I think, maybe the very first game.
No, because Thomas Deng started. Thomas Deng started. That was the Adelaide one.
And so he played the last game of Arnold's era, but he hasn't had since Popovic has come in. I don't think he's had a look in yet. So, and like I said, Burgess been playing for Ipswich since the last international break. I think he started every game for Ipswich.
Did Rolls not play against China?
I'm not sure. He could have come on because they.
I'll check.
He might have come on. He might have got some game time, but he has. I don't think he started for Tony Popovic yet. I think he started the last game for Arnold, but I can't remember him because I can't remember. But he just seems to be on the outer maybe with Popovic. I don't know, but
he played a full 90.
Oh no, so he did start against China.
Yeah.
And then against Japan was dropped completely and didn't come on.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I reckon did he get subbed off in the China game? Or did he play a full 90?
I just saw it, yeah. Full 90.
Yeah,
he
full
looked like
90.
he did it right as well.
Yeah, no, Gary came on for Deng, I think, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Yeah,
that
was
game.
right.
And Rolls played the full game at Adelaide against China, and I thought he did okay, and that's why I thought he was. That's why I had him in my team. But
yeah,
I guess that's
actually I like Kairos. I like him a lot. I just think that he'll probably go with a Burgess and Suter. And like I said, I actually think he will play a 3-4-3 because that's his formation. That's the way he likes to play because his two wide midfielders are effectively just fullbacks. So he plays effectively 5 at the back. So he'll play Gary, Burgess and Suter, I think, as a 3. But like I said, that was my hopeful formation of a 4-3-3, but I don't see it happening because that's too attacking, I think, for Tony. I think he likes to play more defensive.
I was just thinking, it is quite a funny thing how I think most of us either have Suter and Burgess, Suter or Rolls, but then when it's a back 3, the third centre back is not Kai Rolls, it's always Jason Gary, I feel like.
Gary,
That's what I mean, yeah. But so even though when there's that 3 options, you don't put Kai Rolls now, I think that's just interesting. On to, we'll look at the rest of the group to almost finish us off. Of course, still very, very tight. Japan at the top with 10 points. Us, Saudi Arabia and Bahrain, funny enough, all equal on 5 points. So 6 points from these 2 games could be absolutely vital in direct qualification for the World Cup. As you can see, those fixtures as well. We've got Saudi Arabia tomorrow night. Bahrain play China tomorrow night, 12:30 a.m. Technically the day after. And then, what day is it then? Hey, I'm trying to think now. 10:30. What's the 15th? 15th Friday? Friday night at 10:30. Indonesia play Japan. And then the next round of fixtures, China play Japan top versus bottom as it stands. Indonesia play Saudi Arabia. And then we play Bahrain away at 4:45 in the morning, South Australian time. A lovely time to watch your football. Wouldn't have it any other way. David, your quiz.
Yeah.
Do you have a suit to put on? Or
Oh, no, I don't. I should go get my bow tie, shouldn't I?
do you want to? We can fill time.
I'm actually really not sure where it is because I had a bit of a tidy up. I can have a quick look if you want to fill in some time. Or
You can have a quick look. No, you can have a quick look.
I'm not even sure which room to start in. No, I don't know where it is.
Okay, your quiz then.
Okay, are we going straight into it, are we?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. All right, so a little quiz for you fellas. I'm not sure how we're going to do this. We're going to split into singles.
Or you can do Alessio and Marc against me.
Yeah, okay. So you fancy your chances. Are you okay with that, Alessio and Mark?
Yeah, sure. Double the chance.
Now, some of these questions will have already been covered in our discussion. So I've kind of been writing notes as we've gone along, just to change it a little bit, so that I can give you questions that haven't already been covered in the course of our conversation, right? So first question we'll give to Seb, right?
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
You don't need your hand on your buzzer. This is your question.
Okay.
You get first dibs on this. I might pass it over to the panel. We'll just play it by ear a little bit. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Now I've changed this a little bit. Saudi Arabia, right? We mentioned before, qualified for the last World Cup. They were at Qatar. Can you tell me if they were at the World Cup prior to that, 2018?
Yeah, I would say so.
Going yes.
It's
okay.
Yeah. It's because if it was my guess would be it's normally us, Japan, Korea, Saudi, and then one other. Normally, so I would say yes.
Okay, I'll give you a point for that because they were, and then I'll give I'll give Alessio and Marc a question. Can you tell me if they were at the World Cup prior to that, 2014 in Brazil?
No, I reckon they weren't. I reckon
they weren't, or you don't know?
I reckon they weren't. I reckon Josh Kennedy had a mate knocked him out.
Well done. They weren't. So Marc and Alessio pick up a point as well. It's one each. Second question. This is for you, Seb.
Mm-hmm.
What is the furthest that Saudi Arabia have got in a FIFA World Cup?
Ooh. I'm trying to think. I can't actually remember if they made it through to the next round of Qatar. But I don't think they did. Oh, I would. How exact do you want me to be? Like, do you want me to say group? Like, if they've only ever made it to the group, or do you want me to say like position in the group?
You've got group stage, round of 16, quarterfinals, semi-finals, final, winner.
All right, I reckon I can knock about 2 or 3 of those out.
Yeah.
My feeling is that I feel like if they had gotten further than the group stage, it would have been the most recent World Cup for some reason. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna say group stage.
Okay, the furthest they've got to the group stage.
But I feel like I'm wrong. It would be like third. No, surely not. No, what was their group? Argentina, Mexico, Saudi Arabia, and Poland. Maybe was the group at that World Cup. Oh, sure. Oh, I don't know. Mexico were bad. Oh, I don't know. No, they. I don't know. I'm very torn. I feel like for me, it's either 100% group stage, or it's like whatever. What's the round after that?
Round
Well,
of
you're
16.
already kind of
16.
round of 16. You were sort of saying group.
I'm gonna go
stages
group. I'm gonna go group.
Okay, you're
Jeez,
wrong.
that took a while to get there.
I'm wrong.
Yeah, they have got to the round
Round
of
of 16.
16. So Alessio and Marc, can you tell me which World Cup it was that they got to the round of 16?
2018.
Well, I'm thinking it's like a 98 kind of one.
You telling me that they came fourth at the World Cup? No, surely not.
Oh, no, they've got to the round of 16.
No, as in 2022.
What?
I just looked because I was interested. They only came fourth in their group. That's ridiculous. Anyway,
They lost both games. They beat Argentina, then lost the next 2.
Or drew or lost, yeah.
Okay.
I have a feeling that it's like a early World Cup, Mark, that there was like a Saudi Arabia team.
Early? The
like
90s. That's not early, man.
Yeah, it's 20 years ago.
World Cup 58.
1934 is early.
Yeah, I'm thinking like the 94. I don't know. Up to you, Mark. What do you reckon?
Oh, I said 2018.
2018.
The one before. It's up to you, man. You can choose whatever you like, man.
No, I feel like the surprises that one were like a rushes. I'm going to go 94. USA 94.
USA 94 is correct. They got to the round of 16 at USA
Marc
94.
Alessio.
Who do they lose? Who do they lose to?
Don't
Italy
know.
or something.
Not sure. They got to the round of
I'll look it
16
up.
in 94.
I knew there was a weird Saudi Arabia team that was good back in the day.
A weird Saudi Arabia team.
I reckon they had a really good kit, I reckon. Yeah,
All right.
look at that kit.
Seb, your question. Oh, yeah.
They were all good back then, Alessio.
One of the greatest World Cup goals was scored by that gent. I can't remember his name. 94 Saudi
Saeed
Arabia. I think it
Al-Awiran.
might have been against Belgium. He ran the whole length of the park to score. Maybe that was the game. Maybe that was the round of 16 game. Not sure. Look it up afterwards. Okay. You ready, Seb? This is your question.
Yes.
Where are Saudi Arabia currently ranked? What number? Without looking
Oh, we
back
had
through?
it.
Oh, you can't go back through.
No, you can't go back through.
You can't
I
go
know
back
I
through.
can't.
You're going back through. Come on.
I don't. Oh. I want to say. I don't know. I actually don't know. Like somewhere around, like anywhere from like 50 to 60 maybe. Can I have that as a guess?
No.
How close do I have to be?
You have a crack, and then they'll have a crack, and whoever's closest gets the point.
$59.
Okay, and the others, do you want to have a crack?
I reckon 52. 52 or 54, Mark.
I was thinking 54.
That still feels so low for them, by the way, if it is that.
I'm trying to remember what I saw. Because I remember we're 24th.
Yeah, which is
Well,
like ridiculously high.
Yes, so we're
And I
24.
know there was 50s. They were definitely 50 something. It's 52, 54, 56. I reckon 54. We'll go 54.
Okay, Seb's got it. He was dead on, 59.
Oh wow,
I definitely
well
thought.
Yeah.
that still seems so low.
Why don't I ask this one to both of you teams?
Okay.
And you can discuss it openly and then give me your answer collectively.
Okay.
Whom of the following has not been a manager of the Saudi Arabian men's national team? A. Roberto Mancini. B. Frank Rijkaard. C. Mario Zagallo. Or D. Terry Venables. One of them has not been a manager of the Saudi team. So you can have an open discussion and then say you give your answer, and Mark and Alessio you give your answer.
We had Mancini, Venables,
Roberto
Hullet.
Mancini, Rijkaard,
Hullet.
Zagallo, or Venables.
Right.
Is it bad that I only know 3 of them?
Who don't you know?
Whatever the third
Zagallo.
one was.
Zagallo.
Mario Zagallo, only Brazil's most famous manager. Behind, I don't even know who he's behind. He is a little bit older, to be fair to you. He's no longer with us, and he was a manager.
He was the one. Was he a player as well?
Yeah, but a long time
I think
ago.
I remember him when he passed. He was in a. Was he?
Way back in the early days of the World Cup, like the 90s.
The early years of the World Cup.
80s and 70s. I reckon he played and won the World Cup, but
Yeah.
Did he play at one of my early World Cups? World Cup 2010 in South Africa?
No.
I'm going to go for Frank Rijkaard.
Okay.
I reckon maybe Venables, Mark.
I actually think he's done. I actually was leaning towards the Italian. The Brazilian, sorry. Zagallo.
Mario Zagallo.
Because we know Mancini's done it.
Yeah.
And I reckon Rijkaard's done it as well.
Can I change my answer, David?
Yeah. It's not locked in yet.
No. It's locked in.
He said it's not looked in. He said it's not locked in.
You can change your answer. You can't pick the same one as they are. Okay, right? Who did you pick anyway? Frank Rijkaard.
Yeah, and then Mark when I don't think he did it.
That's not a bad, but that's not a bad choice. That's not a bad choice.
Well, they're all not bad choices because it's one of them. That's like what logic's that? Oh no, I'll stick.
I don't know. Let's go.
Yeah,
what are your thoughts, mate?
I just think it'd be such a random one for Terry Venables to go for. I feel like Zagallo.
Mate, he coached Wembley Football Club.
Yeah, but that's why I would say England more likely. And
Terry Venables back in 2010 or 11, maybe 12, I reckon.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I just feel like Zagallo is such a unique call, and it would be like someone who might have taken it. But Venables, I just can't see him. I don't know.
It's up to you, man. Go for it.
I reckon no, Venables didn't do it.
Okay.
So that's not the question, though. Is it? What is the question? I don't remember.
Didn't do it. Whoever didn't.
You're saying, you're saying Venables is the one that's not.
Oh, okay.
So Roberto Mancini has coached Saudi Arabia. Frank Rijkaard has also coached Saudi Arabia. Seb. Sorry, you're not.
He had.
There. And Mario Zagallo has also. Hang on. Terry Venables is the right answer. Terry Venables has not managed Saudi.
Well,
Rijkaard and Zagallo all have. Sorry, I confused you all later, didn't I?
Well done, Alessio.
Yeah. So we're halfway through. Seb's got 2 points. Mark and Alessio have 3 points. Ready for the next question?
Okay. Yeah.
Seb, I think it's you.
Yes.
Okay, sure. Seb, when did Bahrain last qualify for a FIFA World Cup?
I'm not saying I'm going down this route, but are there trick questions? Like, could it be a trick question? Is that a question I can ask? Well, as in, like, if I don't think they've qualified, because I'm not sure yet.
If you don't think they've qualified, you could say they've never qualified, but it's not really a trick. Well, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
There potentially are trick questions. Whether this is one or not, I cannot say.
No, I mean, you could tell me you could tell me if it's a trick question.
I could, you're right, but I won't.
What was it? When
did they last qualify for a FIFA World Cup?
I'm gonna go. I feel like it's either never or they've qualified for like one. I'm gonna go with never.
Should I pass it over? I'll pass it over. See if Mark and Alessio have got. You're always going first, and then I'm passing over. That doesn't seem very fair.
Oh, we're still winning, so it seems to be working well.
What are your thoughts, Alessio? I would have said never.
Yeah, because if they're in our confederation, I just couldn't see them if we've qualified and Japan.
Like I said before, it's normally us, Saudi, Japan, South Korea, and then one other, which is normally either like China.
You remember we used to be in Oceania, so it could have been during that time when.
Yeah, but would have AFC gotten less back then? Maybe.
Do you reckon they added in for like promotion in 2002 when the World Cup was in Japan? They added maybe some more Asian teams. Japan and South Korea.
Normally, just the host nation gets a free spot. But...
Yeah, so does that mean there was extra spot in Asia?
Nah, because they account for that when they do it.
Do you reckon at all, Mark? Do you reckon they've ever been?
So it wouldn't have been an extra. Oh, they would do. So the team that hosts gets an automatic spot.
Because the World Cup was smaller back then as well.
They wouldn't have changed numbers. They wouldn't have changed numbers. So Asia would have still had at that time 3 or 4, whichever one it was they had prior to Japan getting in.
And Australia didn't qualify then, 2002.
So no, they didn't. But we were in Oceania back then.
What do you reckon then? Bahrain
I don't think so, but mate, you've been hitting the spot on tonight, so I'm going whatever you think. I'm going with
I guess you don't know, but if it is 2002, that'd be crazy. That was right. But I can go no as well, David.
Okay, you're both correct. Both teams are correct. They've never qualified for a World Cup.
Surely I only get the point though, right? No, what? How does this work? No, it was my question. That's not how this works.
That's true. That's why I think maybe I'll ask the Marc and Alessio the next lot of questions first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, you happy with that?
Okay.
Levels
that's
at
Not really,
Socceroos.
but okay. Not
You're
really,
as
but
happy
okay.
you're as happy as you can be. Okay, Marc and Alessio, who is Bahrain's current coach? And for a bonus point, what's his nationality?
Come on, I know it.
I know his nationality.
I know it.
I know his first
Is it
name.
a Bronco? Is Bronco?
No, it's
is it Bronco?
Dragan is his first name, and he's Croatian. His last name starts with a
He's got to
K.
say, David. He's got to say both names, by the way. Just saying, to get any points.
Because I know it sounds like the guy from Adelaide, Drago Klijajic and Dragana, but it's not. It's something else that starts with a K. So it's Dragan. He's Croatian.
Hey, David. I know it.
We could just take the extra point of him being Croatian.
Talajic? Talicic?
We'll take the point of him being Croatian. But
Well,
then,
actually,
Mark, just letting you know you're wrong.
let's forget the
I'm just-
nationality. We'll just do the name. I'm complicating it. Just the name.
no, I wanted to. We can take the 1 point instead. We can take the other one because he knows the coach's name.
You might, yeah.
You're wrong, Mark. Just letting you know.
But
okay.
we'll take the
Guess
one.
again. Guess again.
Does it start with a K, Seb, the last name?
Does
I
it?
actually think Mark's close enough, Seb. Don't you?
No, he's wrong.
Seb wants the points, man. Come on.
he's wrong.
Say it again.
I thought it was something like Talajic, like Talajic or something like that. Talajic.
Okay, lock that one in. What's your guess, Seb?
It's that.
Okay.
That's what I said
Mark, you
before.
got it right.
Talajic.
Go on,
Talajic.
Alagic? No?
Seb, playing with you. You got it right, Mark. You both get a point. Both teams get a point. Okay, you ready? Marc and Alessio, your question again.
This just seems like
Wait,
a
how come
nice
both
game
teams
now.
get a
Everyone gets a
point
point. Yeah, exactly.
Did we
Marc
both
and
get
Alessio
the
are
last
ahead
round?
by 1 point. Marc and Alessio ahead by 1 point.
Game's
You
gone,
have 5.
David. Game's
Seb,
gone.
you have 4. You ready? Marc and Alessio, here's the next question. Where are Bahrain currently ranked by FIFA? What number? And it was on one of
76.
Seb's.
Yeah, it's 70 something. I reckon.
76, I think.
Maybe that's the 6 I was thinking of.
That's the
76
6 I was thinking of before. I reckon 76.
Yeah, we'll go 76.
Seb, would you like a guess?
It's 76.
Okay.
I'm not
What's
liking
wrong,
this
Seb?
this structure. I'm not liking this structure.
You had it.
I,
You had
I
all
was.
the-
Do you know?
you had all
What?
the first
I'm going
ones.
to say. I was cheated out of a point, if anything, and now.
How
Oh
were you cheated out of a point? Which one?
no, it's fine. It's fine. No, guys, it's fine. David, continue.
So I just want to run something past you, Seb. You weren't happy with the structure before when you got all the questions first and then you got the second lot. So we changed it. You're getting the questions first and you're second. And are you still not happy
We,
with that?
st-
Tell me
we
what you
still
want
got
to
the
do.
points when you had them first.
No, continue, David. It's fine.
Okay. Marc and Alessio. Who scored Bahrain's goal in their win against Australia in September? And a
we
5-point
covered this,
deduction if
Suter.
you get this wrong.
Suter was an own goal.
You locking that in?
Yeah, because I talked about it earlier.
Yeah. And Seb, would you like a guess?
I'm not going to have a guess. I'm just going to.
He's just agreeing.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. Yeah.
So, Marc and Alessio, you're continuing with your slender 1 point lead over Seb. And now I'm at the last question.
Double points, maybe.
Well, I'm going to open this up to the floor. I'm going to give you the question, and then there's up for 3 points on either team for this. So Seb, if you get all 3 answers correct, you get 3 points. Same with Marc and Alessio, but it's
Okay.
probably going to have to be an open discussion. Australia first played Bahrain in 2006 when they won 3-1 at Bahrain's National Stadium. A point for each of the goal scorers. 3 Australian goal scorers
What?
in 2006.
What year was it?
2006. You can't be
2006.
looking it up, Seb.
What? I'm not looking
I
it
can
up.
see those hands moving.
got a mouse.
2006.
So the chances of you guys all picking the same 3 goal scorers are slim. So I
Do
think
we
you just
do we
have
just
a
get to keep
discussion.
guessing? Do we get to just keep guessing until we get them right?
We could do that, or you could have a discussion and work out which 3 you want to lock in.
Tim Cahill.
You want to lock that in, or do you want to have a discussion?
Yeah, sure. No, I want to lock one in.
Well, he's going to lock. He's going to lock his in. Alessio and I would need to talk.
Yeah.
I'll wait for the confirmation. Are we doing that per person or?
I'm not going to give you confirmation just yet.
Oh, I thought that was how it was going to work. Okay, let's.
Until we all 3 of us have a guess each, then he'll say like 2 right, 1 wrong kind of thing.
Could do that. Do you want to do it that way? Or do you guys want to just have a discussion, work out what your 3 are?
Who else are you thinking, Mark? Kuhl, Viduka?
2006. That was 2006. 2006. That was Germany World Cup.
Yep.
So you had Kuhl, you had Viduka, you had Josh Kennedy, you had Timmy Cahill, you had
2006 World Cup. We had
2006.
Josh Kennedy back then?
Yeah, I reckon he might have been at the back end.
Because he qualified us for the 2014 one. Big gap in between.
True. I'm just trying to go through. Aloisi was at that World Cup. So the 2006 World Cup was Harry Kuhl. You had midfielders. Emerton was there. Luke Wiltshire was there, I reckon.
Who's that?
Stoyovsky might have been there as well back then. So I reckon he was there as well. Bresciano. Grelly.
Have you guys got a clue?
Holman.
All those names you mentioned.
I'm going to go with an.
He's about to say something.
Okay, do you want a clue? All those names you've mentioned have not included any one of the 3 goal scorers.
And including Seb's Tim Cahill.
Correct.
Okay, that's fine.
Oh.
I'm going to include, because my mind, right, I think we played Bahrain in like 2008 or 2009, and that was a game where it was like, wait for my logic, it was like Fabian Barbiero, Daniel Marlin, it was a bunch of A-League players. So I'm going to go down the route of like Archie Thompson, like someone rogue like that, I reckon.
I was thinking the same thing, actually, Seb.
I was going to go for a Craig Moore.
Ooh. Tony Vidmar.
Why is that so funny? Why is that so funny?
Quite a few goals, Craig Moore, for Australia.
That would have been. I don't doubt Lucas Neal would have been playing in that game then. He didn't score many goals though.
Any names, David? Is that correct?
Amongst the names you've mentioned, since I told you hadn't mentioned any of the right names, you've mentioned one name who is a goal scorer.
Ooh.
Was it mine?
Cannot say.
So it's not Tim Cahill, and it might be Archie Thompson. And I've got one more guess.
2006.
Jesus.
Is there anybody that's like, you know, like when you think of Socceroos, like not even goal scorers, but like when you think of
They
like
play
big
in the Premier
Socceroos?
League.
So they would be names that you would know, but they weren't big names. And I think you're right. I think they were probably A-League players at the time. I don't have that in front of me, but they all, you know, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
So it's around the time of the World Cup.
I wasn't even here then.
I want to say a name, but am I allowed to check if he was playing in the Socceroos around that time?
Who?
Why don't you say the name?
No, because I might sound dumb.
There's no stupid people here. You're fine.
I want to say like a Sasha Oganovsky. Was that around that time?
Yeah, you're on the right tracks. It's not him, but you're on the right tracks.
Okay.
I mean, someone Bidisic.
I might only have 1 point. I might only have 1 point. Great.
Would have been before Vidisic there. 2006. When did Adelaide United start? 2004. So possibly could have been someone like Aurelio Vidmar. Might have been still playing national team then. I reckon it might have been back into his career.
One of these players did play for Adelaide United.
Thanks for saying that now, David.
I wonder if it could have been Robbie Cornthwaite. Because he did play for the national side. And that would have been around his time too.
David, you can't laugh at the answers, by the way.
No, I'm not.
It might give you did. You laughed at Robbie Cornthwaite.
Oh, no, I laughed, but I didn't. That was accidental. They were coinciding.
Okay.
Yeah. I just wonder how I'm just trying to work out how.
Maybe even someone like Dodds. Doddsy might have played that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. You're on the right tracks.
Stop saying that. Let him just guess, David. I'm not liking this.
Lucas Pantelis, did he play for Australia? Because I know he was around that Adelaide United side at that time.
Damien Murray? But he never played for Adelaide United.
No, he didn't.
Okay, is anyone locking in any names yet? Sarah, are you locking in Archie Thompson?
Well, my other two are wrong. I'm going to say yes, because you've given me hope with it.
Okay, and Alessio and Mark, are you locking in anything?
I do like the Archie Thompson shout, but I actually think someone random like a Robbie Cornthwaite might have come up for a corner or something stupid like a Dan Mullen or something like that. I'm not sure when they got there. Dan Mullen might be too young, I think, but
I'm going to stick with Craig Moore. I don't know why, but
I reckon Dan Mullen might even have. He won one cap. Was that against Bahrain?
He's won a cap, yeah.
But it might have been the 2008-9 ones when that's when Moroni got him, Barbiero got him.
Yeah.
2009.
They'd give it to anyone at that time, didn't they?
I'm gonna stick with Craig
Sorry,
Moore.
guys.
Oh, shit.
Handing them out like Christmas cards. Only kidding.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Craig Moore.
Craig Moore.
Yeah. All right. So we've got Craig Moore.
Robbie Cornthwaite.
We've got to put in three names, Alessio. So I'm going to go with a Robbie Cornthwaite, just because it's around that time.
One of them has to be Adelaide United guy. So
yeah,
only one
and that's why I'm wondering if it's Dodds maybe as well. But I don't know. Could have been a Dodds. I just don't know.
Seb, you're going to lock in any more? You've only got Archie Thompson's name down.
I thought I was only allowed 3 guesses. Like 3 lock-ins.
What are your three?
I said them. I said Tim Cahill, Archie Thompson, and Sasha Oganovsky. Those are my 3 lock-ins.
Yeah. But then I said, those names weren't right. After that, I said none of the names you mentioned were right. So you've got 2 more.
Oh, so one of them's right.
No. What I said was, at one stage, I said all of the names that had been mentioned in the conversation were not any of the scorers. And that included the 2 that you'd said, or the 3 that you'd said.
Okay.
So you get 2 more guesses, and Mark and Alessio get 1 more guess. And maybe I'll see if I can get you another clue.
Oh, jeez.
How obscure are these players, David?
They're not that obscure. You'll know them.
Okay.
Trust me.
But have they had a lot of caps? Or?
One of them's got 51 caps for Australia.
Okay.
Played in the A-League for Melbourne Heart. Played in the English Premier League very briefly.
Played for Melbourne Heart. Oh,
yes. Which is what Melbourne City were around that time, I suppose.
But it wasn't Rachel because we said that early.
Played in the Premier League as well.
Played for Melbourne Heart.
51 caps for Australia. 9 goals, one of which was scored in this game.
It's funny, actually. I was just going through Insta today, and there was A-League's greatest goals, and there was a Melbourne Heart goal in there. Engelart, the
Orlando Engelart.
From halfway. I was like, just trying to think of who was in that side. Melbourne Heart.
Another
Aloisi.
Let's
That's
prove
what I'm
that this
wondering
fella
if
is
if
he's
John
born
Aloisi,
in
'cause he was
South
still playing
Australia.
at that stage. John,
Marc
I don't know.
Alessio.
There's
This
our
player was
three.
born in South Australia. What was your third one?
Alessio.
Yeah, I reckon he played only one season in the Premier League for someone.
Who? John
Who
Aloisi
was
played
it?
for Coventry. Played for Coventry in the Premier League.
Yeah,
So you guys have locked in Craig Moore, Robbie Cornthwaite, and John Aloisi.
and Archie.
I'm going to go for my other two guesses: Tony Popovich
Yep.
and it's going to be someone. I'm picking a name. Brett Emerton.
Okay. Well, I think tonight's quiz has ended in a tie because Seb got one right. He got Archie Thompson.
Oh,
Tony Popovich and Brett Emerton didn't score. Neither did Craig Moore,
Do they
Robbie
play?
Cornthwaite, or John Aloisi. Do I have the team in front of me? No, I don't have the team in front of me. The scorers that day in that game were Archie Thompson, Josip Skoko, and Ahmad Elrich.
Oh,
Is that Tarek Ulrich's brother?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So there you go. So it's ended in a draw, 7-all, the quiz tonight.
Oh,
Wow.
Wow.
got a tiebreaker for us, David?
Yeah, we can't end it there.
I actually do have a tiebreaker.
Oh,
I went to Football South Australia. I went to Football Australia's website and I wrote down the names of the players, 13 players who won their first Socceroos caps in 2006. Do you think you could name any of them?
Oh, jeez.
And they include a lot of the names that you mentioned before. You get a point for each one.
right.
Up to 3, because otherwise we'll be here all night.
I do remember watching those games fresh out the womb.
Yeah. Sorry the quiz isn't catered for you tonight, Seb.
Yeah, I know, right?
Actually, I
I'll
wouldn't
go
mind betting
Tim
Tim
Cahill
Cahill
off
was
the bat.
Tim Cahill was 2006, wasn't he?
I reckon he was 2004 because I saw him
Surely.
playing at Marden in a World Cup qualifier against Fiji in 2004.
Oh, I thought-
That was his early days.
Robbie Cornthwaite.
Robbie Cornthwaite's name is not here.
Dan Mullen.
To get one.
Daniel
Dan
Mullen.
Mullen's name is not there.
Too early.
Brett
Back to you,
Emerton.
Seb. Back to Seb.
Oh, back to me. Brett Emerton.
No. Marc Alessio.
Alessio, go for it.
Mark Bresciano.
No. Back to you, Seb.
Ahmed Elrich.
No. Back to you, Marc Alessio.
Josip Skoko.
No. Good guess. No. Back to you, Seb.
2006.
2006.
Think of some of the names you mentioned earlier. Go on, Seb, your go. Come on.
2006.
Yeah.
Prime golden generation as well.
Yeah. 13 players won their first Socceroos caps that year. Who were they?
Come on, I got one.
I can't even think. I'm literally just trying to think of who played in that Uruguay game in 2006, and I genuinely I cannot think of anybody who even played in that game. Oh,
You're out of time. Over to Marc Alessio.
Archie Thompson.
Oh,
Who?
jeez.
Archie
Ripped you
Thompson.
there.
No. Back to you, Seb.
What?
Well,
yeah, because actually that American Samoa game was like 2002, wasn't it? 2006. Danny Vukovic.
No. Good guess. Back
that's
to you, Marc
that was a
Alessio.
good shout, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Who's the young one?
That's why I can't think of any. Because what if they were like a young player in like 2006, they would be like probably like anywhere from
Luke
like
Wilshere.
30.
No.
second young players of 2006.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. But it's like surely if they were a young player in 2006, they would be like anywhere from like 30 to 37 or something now. Surely.
Surely we just
Bruno.
keep shooting them off until someone gets one,
Yeah.
David.
Yeah.
And then we just
go
go
on.
by those at points. Brett Holman.
Correct. He was
Oh,
one of them.
Oh, well done.
what were the other ones?
Okay, so cap 487 was Michael Beauchamp. Cap 488 was Ante Kovic. 489
Ante, the
was
goalkeeper.
Scott McDonald. Yeah, Scott McDonald was next.
Scott McDonald, yeah.
And then Brett Holman, as you got there, Alessio. 491 was David Carney.
Oh.
Cap 492 was Josh Kennedy.
Oh,
Oh.
Cap 493 was Neil Kilkenny, all in 2006, these guys.
Oh, wow.
Cap 494, Mark Milligan.
What? Wow. Do you know? I honestly reckon that my vision of time is just warped.
Because
that scene-
maybe some of those
that-
prime
that
generation
seems-
ones would have debuted a little bit before as well. Like
Yeah, they did.
Aloysius, Neil,
they all did, yeah.
Schwarzer,
Yeah.
There's
Who else you got there,
a
David?
few more here.
Vidmar.
Cap 495, Christian Sarkis. Do you remember him?
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
the kid who
He
passed
played
away.
for Adelaide United, didn't he?
He did,
Did he
yes.
play for Adelaide? Yeah. Cap 496, Travis Dodd.
There we go.
Cap 497, Michael Valkanis. Cap 498, Matt Mackay. And finally, cap 499, and the 13th player to win his first cap in 2006 was Ryan Griffiths. I remember him as well.
Oh, Griffiths.
Another
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my perception of time is just like it's just weird, I guess.
So that means Josh Kennedy might have actually been at the 2006 World Cup then.
I think he was.
Yeah, I
Maybe on
reckon.
the
I thought
bench
he
or
was.
something. Maybe a squad
Yeah, he
player.
would have been. Yeah, he would have been as a backup because we had Viduka, Aloisi, Kuhl. So
Cahill.
might have been. Yeah, Cahill, obviously.
Yeah.
Quite a few Adelaide United players there in that list because Valkanis was Adelaide United as well, wasn't he?
Yeah. Well, I guess they won the Premier's Plate 2007, so maybe they were starting to be good
Yeah.
previous year. Or maybe that's 6-7.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, that's me done.
Thank you,
Nice
David,
Well done tonight. Well done tonight.
for the quiz. Always very, very fun. And yeah, that's it for us. I guess finally score predictions for both games. I think we'll draw to Saudi Arabia, and I think we'll beat Bahrain.
I think we'll
I'll
lose
go-
to Saudi Arabia and beat Bahrain.
I reckon a draw with Saudis or 1-1 draw. Exciting.
I'll go a
Minimal
0-0
chances.
draw even.
I'll go a 1-1 draw because I think we're good enough to score an own goal. So I'll go a 1-1 draw there. And I think it's going to be really tight against Bahrain too. I think it's just going to be a 1-0 win in Bahrain or against Bahrain. I think that's it. I think 4 points out of the two games.
I think we'll beat Saudi here, but not by much, maybe just 1-0. And I think it'll be tough over in Bahrain. I think we might even draw that one. I don't know. We'll get a win over there. 2 own goals, 1-0 in Manama.
Very, very nice. That's all from us for tonight. I guess finally we'll be back one more time for Christmas. Yay. Where we'll go through, I guess, any news from locally in South Australia, anything that's happened since we last properly spoke about it. Go through any Christmas festivities. I don't know. We'll have fun. That's what it's all about. Fun and it's
Maybe have a guest or two.
Maybe have a guest or two. Find out. Oh, do you know? Final question before we head to Christmas special. Favorite Christmas movie to finish it off?
Oh.
I'm
Is
going to
Die
go
Hard a
Elf.
Christmas movie?
No,
Yeah.
no. I'll go Elf.
Elf.
I would have said Die Hard, but is it not a Christmas movie? That's an old argument, isn't it?
It's just not.
That one with Tim Allen.
It's the Santa Claus.
Santa Claus.
Yeah. That one.
Maybe Christmas Vacation. That was quite good. Remember when he put the lights on and the whole...
Yeah.
Yeah, the Chevy Chase.
Lampoon, yeah.
Yeah.
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I'll go for one that me and the missus watch every year, and that is The Holiday with Jude Law, Kate Winslet, Jack Black, and Cameron Diaz. We watch that every year. We I think it's actually every year on Christmas Eve. Me and the missus watch that one.
I'm proud to be in the company of people who haven't picked Love Actually.
What a note. Well, we'll ask whoever guests we have on the same questions when we get to there. But until the Christmas special, whenever I plan that, all for now. Good luck to the Socceroos, and we'll see you all next time.
I'm trying to do my maths.
4-2. 4-2. He wins it for us. John.
Here's Aloisi for a place in the
You
World
win it
Cup.
for us.
He's scored! Australia have done it! John Aloisi, the Confederation Cup hero, has done it!
The hitch. And good win deflection goal. Now then.
To support Goodwin. Reflection on that. Duke's header! Magnificent goal!
I got the skills to make the goal sing, and the geezers too, yeah, we're doing this thing.